yung proseso na yun yung karstification. Yung tawag dun sa features or dun sa basically yung environment na nagawa nung pagtunaw na yun, nung specific na type ng bato na yun, carbonate rocks na yun yung karst.
Welcome to the Behind the Science podcast kung saan kakausapin natin ang ating mga scientists para ibahagi hindi lang ang mga resulta ng kanilang pag-aaral, kundi pati na rin ang mga behind the scenes or behind the science stories nito. Ang podcast na ito ay in partnership with the University of the Philippines Resilience Institute. Today, we have our guest, Regina Martha Lumongsod. Martha Lumongsod is a licensed geologist currently doing her PhD in geology at Kangwon National University. She obtained her master's and bachelor's in geology from the National Institute of Geological Sciences, University of the Philippines, Diliman. Her research involved working on understanding the genesis and factors affecting karst and sinkhole evolution in Cebu, Philippines, using petrography, morphometry, and geographic information systems. Without further ado, let's welcome our guest, Miss Martha. So, hello po.
Hello, hi, thank you for having me.
For our audience, actually, kilala ko si Ate Martha from my time back in MIGS as well. So, nag-abot kami in college and we were actually in a band. So, ayun. So, parang yun yung connection namin before. So, ayan. So, to start our interview, Miss Martha, I would like to ask, when did you realize that you wanted to work in the science sector?
Okay, so feeling ko parang babalik tayo dun sa from elementary days.
Yes.
Pa kasi. Actually, dati gusto kong maging doktor, as in like medical doctor. And then, so, syempre, sa school lang, ganyan, and then I was really interested in science, ganyan. General science pa lang naman. Elementary, until I had to move to high school. And I knew I wanted to go to a different high school than where I was staying at. So, luckily, I got into, science high school. I got into Pisay. And then, once you're there, diba, parang, you have this contract na you should take, science course, in college. Yes. And so, parang at the time that I was choosing, so I knew I wanted to do science. So, luckily for me, kahit nung 12 years old, parang di ko naman pinagsisihan na gusto ko mag-science. Because I was really parang genuinely interested on how things worked. Parang ganun. Very curious about why is this like this, bakit ito ganito, etc. And luckily, during my time in high school, I was really interested. Okay naman for me yung mga natural sciences like, let's say, chem, physics, bio, ganyan. But I had a class on earth science and I had a class on environmental science. May ganun kaming class. And for both of those classes, I was like genuinely interested. So, nung time na pipili na ng course na gusto for college, parang hindi ako masyadong nahirapan isipin na, gusto ko, for another school, gusto ko mag-NYSci. For UP, I wanted to do geology. So, ayun naman. Thankfully, nakapasok naman, nakagraduate naman ng geology. Kasi parang, I think that my thought process at the time was, for me kasi, syempre, very naive and young. I was thinking, if I wanted to work in the future, ano ba yung work na sa tingin ko hindi ako magsasawang gawin? Or that I would be passionate about or
yes,
genuinely interested. Kasi at least yung parents ko, naman sila, supportive naman sila of what I want to do. Wala naman silang dinidikta, di ba na, yun. So, yun talaga naisip ko, earth science or environmental science. And yun naman, okay naman, di ko naman pinagsisihan. So far, andito pa naman tayo. So, yun yung, how I got here.
Yeah, oo. Gets. So parang, ayun nga yun, nakapag-masters ka pa nga, tapos ngayon, nag-PhD ka pa, di ba? So, ayun. So mukhang di naman mukhang you're on the right track naman.
Sana. Yes, sana pa din.
And geology, parang, it's one of the sciences, no, na very interdisciplinary.
Yes.
So,
and
may
it's for everyone.
Yeah. So sa geology, hindi lang naman mga bato yung inaaral, di ba?
Right.
Parang may may chem, may bio, then
physics.
minsan physics, just ko, physics, math. So
Math.
very, di ba? So ayun, very, very, very interesting talaga ang geology for
But
our viewers.
I do have to say na parang you really do have to be interested though in geology to stay in the program. Like
Yes.
yung, di ba may classes tayo na parang 3 hours titingin ka lang ng bato.
Oo.
Yung mga ganon, parang you really have to like it.
Yeah. To excel in it or to pursue it, di ba?
Right.
Yung current field niyo po ngayon, so more of karstification, ganyan, di ba? So how did you arrive at that field? Parang bakit yun yung pinili niyo na, gusto kong aralin to. Gusto kong,
Specifically.
ito na yung parang focus of my studies, ganyan.
Right. Actually, kasi for me, di ba, being in geology, so we have a lot of, yun nga, kakasabi mo lang, very interdisciplinary, ang daming sub-specializations or subjects. So, yung mga, kanwari, geophysics, geomorphology, etc. So, for me, it was geomorphology. So, and parang, syempre, I think I remember taking up my 122 under Ma'am Jenny. And then, parang meron kasi doon na parang reporting towards the end of the semester. Yes. Na parang pipili ka ng environment. So, yung mga landforms. And napunta ako sa karst environment. And at that time din kasi I was like interested in limestones in general. Parang kasi, wow, fascinating, my fossils, ganyan. I enjoyed my ano nga to? Hala, nakalimutan. Na-enjoy yung class pero nakalimutan yung kay Sir Doms na class. Yung lab na tumito. 130?
Historical geol, di ba?
130 ba?
Paleo.
Paleo. Yung lab class especially, I enjoyed looking at the rocks, ganyan. And I was also taking up, during my last semester, I took up active tectonics, which is a master's class. And then at the time, parang pinapili din kami ng parang what you want to study. And parang I wanted to study an area na merong limestone, mostly limestone. And syempre, if the area is mostly limestone, it follows na may karst doon. And so when I was looking for, yun na, nung nag-masters na ako, anong gusto ko, topic, yun yung isa sa mga lumabas. Kasi at that time, before pa ako pumasok ng master, so when I graduated, there was an opportunity to become a research assistant. So I was actually a research assistant first. And kasi hindi ako natanggap nung una ako nag-apply as instructor. Nauna natanggap nun yung batchmate ko, si Acer, si Slug. And then, so at the time, parang I still wanted to be in NICS, do research, and may opening for a research assistant. So project ni Ma'am Jenny. Kasi nga, doon na rin naman ako na lab talaga. So, yan, RWG, tas gear. So, parang, ang topic nila was Central Philippines. And one of the topics there was for karst. Kasi nga, ang Central Philippines, very much daming karst. Sa Bohol, Cebu, Negros. Yung Central Philippines area na yun. Marami talagang limestones, maraming karst. Kaya din maraming caves, it follows. Maraming caves, sinkholes, yun, etc. And so, parang ng time na yun, parang since interested naman ako sa topic, I was like, okay, let's look into these. Paano ba siya na-form? Gaano ba kadami? Ano ba yung distribution? Very, din kasi, it also comes into mind for me na parang, ang dami nating, parang, ang tawag sa ganyan, yung tourist spots that are actually limestone yung gawa, or karst siya, technically. So, you have the, subterranean river, di ba? Sa Palawan, that's karst, St. Paul limestone. And then, you also have Chocolate Hills in Bohol. You have the numerous caves, Calao Cave, etc. Masungi Georeserve is also made up of karst. So, parang for me, parang wow, it's very, alam mo yun, parang people was like, wow, ang ganda naman ito. El Nido, ang ganda, di ba? Parang ganyan. But then like, behind that, ano bang meron? How did it form? Yung mga ganon. And parang, not a lot of people were also specializing in karst, actually.
Yeah.
So, parang kaya ko din naisipan na mag-focus doon. Like, even during doing my master's, and being an RA, and even after being an RA, parang hirap na hirap ako maghanap ng RRL sa totoo lang on Philippine karst na talagang Pero, syempre, of course, meron naman tayong, let's say, MGB na nagsa-study din talaga ng karst. And parang recently, they also wrapped up their PhilKarst project. So, ayun, mas madami na ngayong data. Pero, when I was doing my master's, starting my master's, parang medyo nahirapan ako maghanap ng... It's mostly about the limestone lang. Sila Doc Alan, yun yung mga topic nila, like, punta sila sa cave, so kung may fossils, ganyan, yun yung inaaral nila. But not more of like how it formed, like the geomorphology part. So, yun yung part na gusto ko gawin. And so now that I'm here in Korea, ang lab ko kasi is on hydrogeology actually. Kasi, yes. Kasi yun yung kulang sa MS ko. So, very kulang ako sa hydro data during my MS. And so, parang I wanted to bridge that gap going into my PhD. Para pagbalik ko, pag bumalik ako, alam ko na as a, parang mas holistic na yung approach ko sa pag-study ng karst. Kasi very important for karst yung water. Yung water na part. Especially subsurface. So, groundwater na part. So, ayun. Kaya yun yung tinig ko. Kasi, yun nga. And, share ko lang din, haba ng sinabi.
Go lang!
Kasi parang, recently, I've been attending international conferences wherein I meet, yung mga dati kong kasama sa NIGS, dati kong kasama sa Philippines, I was able to meet again yung aking thesis panel, sila Ma'am Jenny, si Ma'am Liza, ganyan. And they're like pushing me na, kulang pa tayo sa karst, let's, balik ka, mag-research tayo about it. Because it's very important, but not a lot of people are doing it. And so, parang na-reinforce lalo sa akin na, okay, mahalaga yung ginagawa ko. Parang ganun. Kasi nga, kailangan siya.
Yes.
Parang ganun.
Especially, ang daming limestone sa Pilipinas talaga. Right. So, ang daming pwedeng ma-discover. Ganyan. Para sa mga viewers natin and audience, ano po ba yung karstification? Like, ano po ba yung karst?
Very ito yung start din ng paper ko. To put it simply, I guess, para mas, lalo na, mostly Filipinos, di ba, ang nakikinig ba? So, let's say, mayroon tayong bato, especially limestone yung tawag natin. Sa ibang places, it's like apog. Sa ibang places, parang, baka mali pala. Hindi na alam yung Tagalog. No? Pero yung ginagamit for construction, yung white na bato na may fossils, ganyan. And it just so happens that we have marami tayong ganun sa Pilipinas. Kasi a long time during the formation ng Pilipinas ay nasa ilalim tayo ng tubig. So naturally, pag medyo mababaw na tayo, nagka-form ng mga corals, especially corals, yun yung bulk, I think, ng mga napupunta dun sa mga bato na yun. So, pag naging bato sila, ganyan, usually nagiging limestone sila. And ang special sa type ng bato na to ay, madali siyang matunaw. So, yun yung pinaka unique feature niya, kumbaga. Madali siyang matunaw by tubig. So, basically, pag may presence ka ng tubig, especially kung kunwari acid rain yan, mas matutunaw siya. Diba meron tayong dati, yung experiment na yung maglagay ka ng HCl dun sa limestone, tapos mag-phase siya matutunaw. Yun. Basically, pinapakita lang yung formation na yun. So, syempre, as time goes on, daming tubig, di ba? Ulan ng ulan sa Pilipinas, ganyan.
Yes.
Mas na-form ka ng mga ganong features. So, nagkakaroon ka ng mga sinkholes. Minsan, depression lang siya mababaw, nagiging malalim, nagiging kuweba, minsan. Yun, and other features related to that. So, yun yung proseso na yun yung karstification. Yung tawag dun sa features or dun sa basically, yung environment na nagawa nung pagtunaw na yun, nung specific na type ng bato na yun, carbonate rocks na yun yung karst.
Yes.
So, yun siya.
Okay, very interesting, di ba? So, moving on to your paper, na-mention nyo na nga po earlier. So today we will be featuring your study, Mapping the Karstification Potential of Central Cebu, Philippines using GIS. So, ma'am, can you explain your paper in one sentence?
Wala, one sentence. Ano ba to? Yung bang one sentence ko dapat parang nandun na yung pinaka-results or parang teaser lang siya ng paper. Yun kasi yung medyo...
Pwede namang teaser, pwedeng may konting results na, ganyan.
Okay,
So,
okay. Pwede mo question?
Pwede.
Kasi, or hindi, sige, in the study na lang.
Okay.
In this study, we wanted to know which parts of our study area was more likely to form karst. Kasi nga, karstification potential siya.
Yes.
Yun na yun. Yun siya actually. Anong factors at saan? Yun lang.
Very concise, very
Yes.
informative. Yes. So, paano niyo po ito na-formulate? Like, paano niyo na-formulate yung research question niyo? And, ayun, nasabi niyo na nga po yung objectives ng study niyo. Pero, paano niyo siya naisip gawin?
For me, so, okay, given that, so, di ba, I think one of the guide questions also asks, like, about the funding. And, sagutin ko lang din yun agad. Kasi nga may project. I was on Project RA at the time. And I think it's such a basic question to ask how certain landforms are formed. That's why we focused on karstification. Pero, ang mas diniinan namin, nilagyan namin ng emphasis sa paper is karstification potential under the context of what? Ano bang paki natin? Diba? Kung saan magkakaroon ng karst. And the thing is, like, diba, mention ko kanina, ang daming tourist places sa Pilipinas, ganda, caves, ganyan. I made up of karst. But at the same time, there's a good part of having karst and there's a bad part of having karst. So if you have karst in your area, or mostly yung area mo ay karst, di ba nga na-form siya sa pagtunaw nung bato sa ilalim with water. Usually you have mas malalalim na kuhanan ng tubig sa ibang places na may karst. So, medyo... Tapos, since meron nga sila yung sinkholes na parang diretso kasi yung access ng tubig sa taas dun sa baba eh. Diba? Kasi parang naglagay ka ng butas tapos diretso siya sa baba. And usually, diretso din yun dun sa groundwater ng area. Which is yung kinokonsume ng mga tao. So, very, very, how do I say it? Very vulnerable. Let's say, to pollution, to effects of climate change, ganyan. So, you're interested to know that part. Aside from the groundwater part, kasi nga, di ba ako, medyo kulang ako dun sa groundwater aspect na data, di ba?
Yes.
At the time, I was doing more of sa disaster-related. So, sinkholes. So, I cited the Bohol earthquake before, wherein, yun nga parang, lahat nung hindi man lahat. Pero like, nagkaroon ng presence ng sinkholes, lumitaw sila after the earthquake. Pero actually, yung mga yun naman, collapse yun eh. So, ibig sabihin, weak na sila sa ilalim kasi nga, natutunaw na yung bato sa ilalim. So, di ba, syempre, pag na-trigger yun, guguho yung lupa. So, yun yung, bakit natin gusto malaman asan yung karst areas. Basically, for me, it was more of like, because of the sinkholes, because of the caves, underground caves. Kasi yun yung mas may direct na pinsala na pwede dun sa mga tao na nakatira. So, kaya mo gustong malaman. Bakit? Kung saan ba yung mga areas na yun. And it's not entirely because gusto mo siyang iwasan. Kasi syempre, let's face the truth, yun naman talaga maiiwasan. Di ba?
Yes.
But it's more of like, para lang alam ng community na yun, how to prepare for it. Saan ilalagay yung evacuation area? For example, like, ilalagay mo ba yung evacuation area dun sa merong sinkhole sa ilalim or sa may kuweba sa ilalim. Di ba hindi? Parang ganun. So, saan siya mas likely magpo-form? Parang ganun. Yun yung gusto naming, dun yung curious kami. So, when we arrived at that, yung naging design na ng paper, since I was doing GIS, I was also teaching 175 at the time and 122. Ang pinaka-basic na way to use certain layers is to create another map is overlaying, which is the method in the paper. So, I wanted to know ano bang factors yung nagkukos ng pagkakaroon ng karst, and then gather all of those layers and try to like pagpatong-patungin sila. Diba? Very, very suitability analysis na format. So, yun yung, kaya ganun yung paper. Yes. Kaya
So, parang basically, you calculated kung saan yung mga areas na most likely ay pwedeng make karst. Ganun siya, di ba?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So,
And, yun. Oo. Tama.
So, with that, can you explain your results? Like, I'm 5 years old.
Okay, so, di ba gusto nating malaman kung saan tayo magkakaroon nung... Pwede bang, alam na nung bata yung context ng karst, di ba? I mean, kasi in-explain ko na kanina.
In-explain.
Gusto nating malaman saan magkakaroon nung karst or saan meron na. Kasi nga, di ba? Ayun. So, may mga dahilan kung ba't ka magkakaroon. Meron tayong reasons kung ba't ka magkakaroon ng karst. For example, kailangan yung bato dun sa area ay ganito. Di ba? Or, kunwari, merong mga rivers, tapos ganito yung pattern ng rivers. Usually, yung mga rivers na yon indicative sila na may karst dun sa area. Kunwari, maraming disappearing streams. Yung mga ganyan, may ikse,
okay.
yung mga ganon. So, yon. So, inipon lang natin yun, geology, layer, kung anong type ng bato yung meron, anong, yun nga, sa streams, kung meron bang faults. Sana alam ng 5-year-old yung
So, yung mga faults ay, di ba?
mga
Parang
biyak sa lupa,
roaches.
sort of. Ayan, yun yung pinaka-basic.
Basic.
Oo. At kung mayroon kang biyak sa lupa, mas madali kasing pumunta dun yung tubig. Which is, again, another factor kung paano ka magkakaroon ng karst. Kasi nga kailangan mo ng tubig para tunawin yung bato. So, yon, yung tatlong yon. Nilagyan din namin ng ulan. Ulan ba talaga? Precipitation. Ulan, kung saan mas umuulan. Pati yung temperatura, gaano kalamig, gaano kainit, usually related din kasi siya. Tsaka yung halaman. Yung gaano kapal yung cover ng halaman. So, pag pinagpatong-patong yun, ginawa namin ng ito mas magpo-form, ito mas hindi magpo-form. Tapos, nilabas lang namin sa isang mapa. Pinagsama-sama lang namin lahat. So, kung nasan yung mas maraming patong-patong yung mga inducive sa magawa ng karstification, ng karst, yun yung mas prone, basically. And, conversely, the opposite. Yeah.
So, parang kung saan yung mas mataas yung mga
factors
yung values ng factors na yun, doon posibleng may karstification. Or,
tama.
Yeah. So, na-mention niyo yung temperature. Ano pong relation nun sa karstification? Like, bakit important yung temperature?
Actually, ang temperature, hindi siya directly affecting. Kasi, kasi for me din, parang, mga kinalaman kung malamig or mahingi. Kasi, sa atin naman, like, saan ka ba makakita ng karst sa mundo? Meron naman din sa malalamig na areas, meron din sa may init na areas. Pero nagiging parang kasi siya, ang tawag sa ganyan, proxy ng ibang factors katulad ng, yun nga, dami din ng ulan. So, parang nare-reinforce niya yung precipitation. Kaya din meron ako nilagay doon na parang disclaimer, sort of, or dun sa part ng ang tawag dyan, results and discussion na parang, baka kaya mas may factor tong mga area na to kung nasan yung precipitation. Kasi tumatamas siya dun sa layers na may temperature. Kasi nga proxy siya nun yung temperature. So, hindi direct yung relationship.
Okay.
Indirect yung relationship with temperature. The rest, more or less, direct na yung mga factors na yan. Mas straightforward.
So, pag vegetation, like kung gaano karami yung mga halaman, di ba, sa area?
Yes. Gaano kakapal.
Ano rin po ba yung connection niya sa karstification? Like, paano po yun? Ano po bakit siya important din?
Usually kasi kapag nilalagay na, si vegetation din actually, yung ibang papers na nabasa ko, ginagamit din niya si vegetation as, ang tawag dyan? Vegetation as proxy.
Proxy din.
Pero, hindi katulad ng sa precipitation na yung temperature precipitation medyo mas related. Si vegetation more of sa infiltration. Kasi nga, di ba, may tubig na kinukuha from that. So, may ibang papers na gumamit siya ng vegetation cover or density, vegetation density, para sabihin kung nasan yung mga areas na, yun nga, sa infiltrations. For example, pag mas maraming, mas dense, mas makapal yung cover, dun yung higher infiltration. So, mas mataas yung karstification potential. Ganun. Kasi nga yung tubig. Yan. So,
Dahil
tubig
sa sa roots parang nung
yes.
nung halaman.
Kaya
Dahil
lang ang pinakamalaking, I think, kasi nga di ba wala kaming data on groundwater. Kasi yun talaga yung mas tama. Di ba? Kasi nga ito proxy lang. Kasi, hindi mo lang din naman masasabi based sa vegetation cover yung rate of infiltration. Kasi proxy nga lang siya. Kasi meron din naman, depende din yun sa halaman. Pwede din may factor yung halaman. Like nung may mga na-attend ng conference na ang inaaral naman nila is parang aling mga halaman yung mga parang mas related sa ganitong classic karstification. Very
interesting.
Oo, may ganun din. So, yun yung, kaya siya proxy lang.
Okay. So, nasagot niyo na po yung how you funded your research. So, it was through a project.
Yes.
So, may mga challenges po ba kayong na-experience doing this research?
Well, etong particular paper na to is part of, sinabi mo yung thesis ko kanina, di ba? Na parang 3 parts siya. So, this is like a part of that paper. So, I did GIS din on yung sinkholes na mismo. And then ito, karstification potential. And then I also used samples, rock samples. Yun nga, petrography and like, tinignan ko din yung parang relative porosity nung mga samples na yun. Though hindi ko pinublish yung, yung chapter ko na yun. Pero, yun. Yun siya. So, funding-wise, marami kasi akong data actually na parang, ito kasing project na to, matagal na siyang project sa lab namin na parang every year, parang 3-year project siya. I was the RA for the 2nd year, though hindi ko din actually yun natapos kasi nga naging instructor ako after 10 months. And then, so, funding-wise, naman, as an RA, yung mga challenges na kakakibat ng pagiging RA.
Totoo.
Diba? Yung mga paperwork, ganun. Siyempre, the research kaya ka nga research assistant. But all the other admin stuff that comes with being an RA, that was really challenging. It's it's everyone's pain.
I can relate.
So, but also, I think, ano pa ba? Naging challenge. Sa totoo lang, when I was doing my RA, pagiging RA, I got into an accident, but that was for a different kumbaga set of data. As in
like field accident sa field?
Yes.
Oh my
Kasi parang pwede ba tong i-disclose?
Okay lang.
Okay naman. Parang kasi may part din kasi kami dun sa di ba program yun, tapos may 3 project. Dun sa project namin, since sa coastal tectonic si ma'am, ang namin is nag-check din kami nung nakalimutan yung tawag dun sa coast.
Okay.
I-check namin yung elevation.
Beach profiling. Tama ba? Or hindi?
Coral, more of terraces. Ayun, terraces, marine terraces.
Okay.
So, you're looking at marine terraces. And then, so, syempre, ako, either ako yung magsasite or ako yung tatayo kung nasan i-measure.
So, parang survey.
Ako yung, at that time, ako yung tumatayo. So, ayan, tayo si girl, ganyan. After a certain level, dun sa beach, may tinapakan na sa, ayan, nag-take. Tapos, gumuho siya. Gumuho yun. Tapos, nakakapit ako. Kaya lang tumama yung mukha ko dun sa sa cliff ng corals. So, ito, ayan, kaya may ganyan ako sa lip. Ayan. Dahil doon, hindi siya dumugo, by the way. Like, hindi siya na-stitch or anything. Talagang ganyan lang siya. Pero yung tooth ko, nahati siya sa 2.
Okay.
Like that. I mean, fake. Yung kalahati niyan ay fake. Pero, ganun yung nangyari. So, magiging part na ng limestone yung
fossil na rin siya, ganyan.
Magiging part na ako ng geology ng coast. Pero yun. Tapos grabe yun kasi doon ko talaga na-realize how hard it was to, di ba, being on the field. That was a Sunday. That was a Sunday. And we were at the parang southernmost part of Cebu Island. Santander to. And Santander is not a big, hindi siya, alam ko municipality siya, so hindi siya city. So, pag kasi hindi city, pag municipality, usually clinic lang sa munisipyo yung meron. Wala sila ng major hospitals. And it was Sunday. So, sarado yun. So, hawak-hawak yung sarado. And the nearest one was in Oslob. Kasi di ba, ano yun, popular tourist destination, whale shark.
Yes.
So, meron doon bukas ng Sunday. Girl, 30 minutes.
Aray,
Parang at least 30 minutes na nakaganyan lang ako. Pagdating ko dun sa, syempre bukas yung hospital siya. Pagdating ko dun sa hospital, hindi na siya dumudugo.
Oh.
Wala na eh. Wala.
Parang nag-clot na siya.
Oo, wala na gano'n. Sa sobrang layo ng hospital. I mean, luckily, we had the van. Kasi nga, nag-field kami nun. May van kami, hindi namin kailangan tumawag ng. Pero girl, kung naghintay pa kami ng, di ba, kung emergency, whatever. Naku, mas matagal lalo. Mas mahirap. So, yun yung mga ganun, yung mga, namin sa field. And then, of course, challenges sa writing. Ako kasi nung time na yun, when I was writing this, I think it was almost, hindi ko kasi siya sinulat din agad-agad. Inabutan ako ng COVID.
Pandemic, yes.
Oo, ng pandemic. At parang sobrang scattered ng everything. Alam mo yan, di ba? May internal conflict. Yeah, oo. Na kahit hindi ako nagka-COVID ever, pero grabe, talaga the emotional, anxiety, lahat. Hindi ka makapasok sa lab kasi sarado, di ka makapunta. Yung samples ko, ang tagal ko hindi na-process. Tas, yun. So, at one point, I had to meet a deadline kasi we wanted to submit this for, ang tawag sa ganyan, yung collection, yung parang call for papers for collection. Kasi I presented this as part of because this was part of a project. I presented this at yung parang meron kaming Philippine, Taiwan conference, ganyan. And then, maglalabas ng special issue for that. So, I had that deadline. Tapos, oh my God, sabi lang talaga, hindi ako makapagsulat. Buti na lang, I had a friend na parang productivity coach.
Ay, wow. Okay.
Oo, binayaran ko ang service para lang talaga may maisulat. Ako kasi stuck talaga. Stuck. And then, I did that. And this faced I think, twice ako na-reject. Once, na-reject ako doon sa special issue kasi hindi siya relevant enough for the special issue. And then, for another journal naman, parang hindi yun part ng scope nila. And then, when I submitted to EES, ito na yung Environmental Earth Science, tsaka dun, okay na siya. I think I got one. At first, it was minor revisions. And then after, na din. Okay na din.
That's good.
Yun nga. Ayun. I think, one of my big parang struggles talaga was to write. I'm really, to write. Kasi syempre first...
Actually.
It wasn't my first paper, honestly. I think it was my second paper. My first paper, though, was conference proceedings siya. So, hindi naman sa hindi siya counted kasi may DOI siya and everything. It was peer-reviewed. Pero syempre yung, di ba, yung SCI, mga ganyan-ganyan.
Parang iba yung atake niya.
Yes,
parang iba yung... Okay.
So, ito yung una kong SCI na paper. So, talagang, yun. Mahirap magsulat for me.
Yeah.
Especially during
That's true. Parang everyone talaga, all researchers struggle with writing talaga.
Right. Tsaka parang, is this enough? Parang ganun kasi yung tanong ko.
Yeah.
Is this publishable? Alam mo yun? Yun talaga,
parang,
I think.
Tama ba to? Charot, ganun.
Oo.
May mga ganun, diba?
Tama ba to? In the first place.
So, ayun nga, as geologist din talaga, yung una mong sinabi, yung sa field, marami talagang hazards sa field. So, medyo, talaga siya, it's part of the job talaga.
True.
Yan. Tapos COVID din, that was a hard time for everyone na parang, di natin alam kung anong gagawin natin in the first few months, di ba? So, sobrang hirap. So, sobrang lost nating lahat. So, I sobrang gets ng struggles. So, moving back, balik sa, to the paper, When did you realize na, or at what point did you realize na, okay, enough na tong results ko to publish na parang, okay, pwede ko na tong ipasa, ganyan.
Katulad nga ng sinabi ko kanina, di ba? Ang dami kong doubts sa part na parang, okay na ba? Parang gano'n. Kasi for me, when I did the paper, isa sa mga tips na binigay sa akin ng productivity coach, friend ko na yan, I was...
Yes, please share.
parang, make it parang, a habit. Just show up every day. Yun yung It doesn't matter if you write one sentence or a paragraph. Kasi nga, our productivity is not a linear thing. As sabi niya, minsan tataas, minsan ganyan, minsan ganito. The important thing is show up every day. So, for a month, I think I did the writing for a month. Kasi nga may data naman ako eh. Ano naman yan eh. Ano naman tayo, di ba? Mahilig tayong sumali sa conferences. And being an RA, I had to have a report. I had to make, quarterly. Hindi nga lang quarterly. Quarterly reports.
Quarterly,
diba? May ganon.
yes.
Tapos yung final report pa by the year end. So talagang, hindi nakatenga yung data ko. Ano yan? May progress yan. Yung writing lang talaga yung naging problema ko. So, at some point, I did all the, writing, ganyan. May results naman. Mukhang substantial naman. I just did the draft for a month. I had a deadline, di ba, to meet. And then I submitted it to my professor and my 2 co-authors. And parang, honestly, since I had one method na sinundan ko, technically one method, I have seen other papers that also did the same method or a different method na yun lang yung ginawa nilang method. And then they had results. So I was like, I think this is enough. To the point na, ayun nga, parang, since for me, I think baka pwede na. Sinabit ko na dun sa project leader tsaka program leader. And if they agree, if they sabihin nila, may kulang pa dito sa part na to, that's when I add. Kasi parang at some point din talaga parang meron tayong tendency na maging perfectionist na kailangan
yes,
very perfect, kailangan napakaganda ng resulta para masabi publishable, best paper ever. Diba? Pero hindi eh. Kasi science is still science. Negative results are still results.
Yes.
And so, parang, sure, hindi ako mapapublish sa science or sa nature. But this is, it contributes to the body of knowledge. It contributes to, the understanding of this topic. And, yun nga, na-reject siya twice. At some point, you will meet like a journal that will, hindi naman sa, guaranteed na ma-accept ang lahat ng paper. Pero yung point ko ay parang, merong revisions na ibibigay sa'yo, may bibigay sa'yong comments. And at some point, yun nga, maaayos mo yung paper mo. Nung na-reject ako the first time, hindi nila ako outright ni-reject for the special issue. Nag-comment muna sila. And after that, tsaka nila sinabi na hindi nga ito, parang hindi siya nagbe-belong dun sa aming special issue. So, getting those comments, I was able to revise my paper, submitted it again, comments, revise. Even though it gets rejected, na-develop mo yung paper.
Yes.
Na-improve mo yung paper. And yun nga, hindi lang naman ako yung author. I had 2 co-authors with me who were also looking at the paper. And eventually, it will just come out na, okay, good enough to be published. Sasabihin naman sa'yo ng ng journal yan. Na, okay na, accept na namin. Pwede na. Let's publish na natin. Yun yan. Basta, yun nga. Sabi ni productivity coach, just show up every day. Yun yung sabi niya. I-apply ko din sa sarili ko kasi may tinatawag sila ang paper niya.
Okay, ako rin. Parang salamat po sa tip na yan. I will do that every day. Charot. So, ayun nga rejection din talaga. It's part of the process, diba, of doing our science. Ngayon po, ano po yung plans niyo moving forward with this research?
Honestly, parang it would have been so hindi naman so easy, pero very kasi di ba may ibang mga tao na from their masters, they just develop the same topic. Di ba? Going into PhD. Lalo na yung
parang
mga MS
lang nila.
Or same lab. Tutuloy. Kasi, which is maganda. Kasi alam mo Alam mo yung kailangan mong gawin. Oo.
Yes.
I-improve mo siya. 'di ba, ma-apply mo siya sa ibang lugar. Usually, ganun naman yung mga...
Which is important din naman.
Oo,
diba?
Tama. Pero kasi for me, now, what I'm doing right now is a whole other field. I'm relearning things.
Okay.
Kasi nga tubig. I had one class of hydrogel and it was just one class. You know what I mean? You don't learn, unlike
everything.
Na nandito. So, and it's, for me, until now, sure, I'm doing like hydro data, but it's always under the context of, I like putting things on maps. Parang, me, gusto kong na-visualize yung distribution ng data ko sa mapa. At makita siya na, may kinalaman ba dito sa isa pang factor? Ganun. Yun. Plus the hydro part. So, yun yung nire-relearn ko ngayon. So, ang plans ko ngayon ay, I've been still doing the GIS part. I'm still doing a lot of GIS methods for research. But at the same time, incorporating more of the hydro data na meron dito. I'm learning how to sample, paano mag-sample sa field kasi hindi ko yun na-try dati.
Like tubig, di ba? Paano mag-sample ng tubig, gano'n.
Like may pupuntahan kaming mga pwedeng springs, pwedeng wells. Ang maganda kasi dito, where I'm studying at, dito sa Korea, ang kanilang water data is so complete. Sobra. I was luckily able to participate in like a certain training program. Tapos pinuntahan namin yung parang agency na in charge dun sa monitoring ng wells, and water, groundwater, rivers nila. Kasi very sila sa flooding actually. Yun yung isa sa mga big concerns nila. Flooding. And they're also very, surprisingly, agricultural. So, we know Seoul, for example, or Busan, the capital city, the more populated cities, the capital city, Seoul, very, diba, very daming building, diba, very industrious. But outside that, ang daming farms. Ang daming agricultural, hindi siguro kasing, natin with rice, but it's more of like other things, corn, sweet potato, ganyan. Kaya actually, here in my university, one of the mga sikat na courses is agri. Agri-econ,
Okay.
Yun. Kasi very talaga. Lalo na dito sa amin, kasi I'm outside of Seoul. So, dun kami sa hindi naman rural, pero mas rural na area. So, yun yung focus. So, very important for them, yung tubig, yung data nila sa tubig. To the point na, napakadami nilang points. As in, ang dami. And ikaw, bilang researcher, pwede mong ma-access yun. Meron sila, punta ka sa website, nandyan lahat, nasan yung mga monitoring sites, nasan yung
madali,
wells.
as in, lang talaga, click and then download, ganyan.
Kahit, siya, para siyang API na
you don't
siya.
have to request it? Ganun po?
No.
Okay.
It's public data. You go there, so, okay, ito yung place na pupuntahan ko, dito ako magmamonitor, no? Punta ka doon, pwede mong buksan yung, yung station. Maglalagay ka nung pang-monitor mo, go. Pwede mong buksan yung, doon, parang may small faucet doon na, pwede kang kumuha ng sample ng tubig.
Magpapaalam ka lang, ganun.
Actually, wala nga eh. Walang nagbabantay. May mga ganong monitoring wells. And then, parang, there's also parang, lalo na, di ba sabi ko, very concerned sila sa flooding. Parang may mga stations sila na, may parang may signal receiver. Yung point I, dun sa kanilang monitoring website, you can see every hour level.
Hour level. Very, siya, high resolution yung time series.
Sobra. Kaya maraming, dito, research na time series, ganyan-ganyan off. Kasi may data sila. And very, malalapit ang points. Hindi, compared to us, syempre. Pero ang lalapit ng points. Even in Jeju alone, which is just an island, which is one island, ang daming sites. Ang daming, So, even the rivers, kasi kailangan nila makita. Tapos pinupunta kami doon sa monitoring nila. Girl, ang ganda. Ang laki ng screen. Kita mo. May English version pa. So, kung ikaw ay, let's say, foreign hire.
Foreign student.
Or, na employee doon. pwede mo. Makikita mo talaga. As in, andun talaga. Yun yung very, fortunate studying, hydrology here. The monitoring talaga, it's very, and that's something na I wish we can get in the Philippines.
I hope we can apply that much freedom of information and
sobra.
Density ng sampling sites. Alam mo yun?
Grabe. Kasi,
it would make life easier.
and the results better.
Oo.
Yun talaga. Parang kaya ka makakakuha ng magandang results or parang close to actual, lalo na sa prediction part, ay dahil kumpleto ka ng data. Ganon kadaming data. Kaya marami din dito parang mga big data, ganon yung mga topic nila. Kasi ang dami mong data na pwedeng i-analyze. So, yun yung gusto ko sana na ma-achieve sa atin. So,
sana ma-apply. Sana talaga. Sana soon.
Yun nga. Sana talaga. Kasi we also wanted, for my thesis, kasi tapos na ako sa coursework. I wanted to get a study area din na Philippines. Gusto ko sana. Kaya lang, apply pa ng project. Mag-apply pa ng funding. Kasi, syempre, balik-balik. Ganyan. So, hopefully matanggap. Hopefully makakuha. Yun. And also, we're also looking into, so yung prof ko kasi is interested in like geoheritage and geoparks. So, we also want to try to go through that direction. Kasi, di ba, we already have one.
Yes,
UNESCO Global Geopark, which is Bohol, which is karst area.
Yes.
So, syempre, gusto nating humabol sa ating mga kapitbahay talaga. Mga karating bansa na marami-rami na, I think Indonesia has 7, if I'm not mistaken. UNESCO Global Geoparks. And our geology, Philippines is so beautiful. Ang dami mong pwedeng i-apply. Kaya lang, there are a lot of requirements.
Na administrative challenges yung problem.
And research na dapat ginawa doon sa area na yun. So, yun. Yun na yung, isa yun sa mga gusto ko din sana. Na, for us, for Philippines.
Yes. Question din po pala, paano niyo po nakuha yung PhD niyo in Korea? Like, paano po kayo nag-apply? Is it through a scholarship or
Sige, promote ko na lang din. Promote ko na lang din. Kasi currently, I'm currently the president of the Pinoy Scholars sa Korea, Philippine Scholars in Korea. And this is an organization of all students, Filipino students who are currently enrolled in an institution or university here in Korea. And one of the more popular ways to ako kasi, personally, hindi ako magpo-pursue ng PhD nang walang scholarship. Kasi mahal.
Mahal.
Tsaka yung cost of living. Kasi mas mahal yung cost of living dito eh.
Okay.
So, oo. As in.
City kayo, no?
Well, city, pero it's not even Seoul nga eh. So, mas mura pa actually yung amin relative sa kanila. Pero, yun. So, one of the more popular scholarships is the Global Korea Scholarship. Yun yung parang medyo mas very competitive. And kailangan siyang, parang may certain time lang na pwede mo siyang ma-applyan, tas maraming screening processes. So, I have a lot of friends that got in here through that scholarship. So, you have 1 year, at least 6 months to 1 year of language training, and then after that, you proceed to your degree. Kung ano man yung degree na ko mo. For me, and for some of my other friends, so you have GKS, there's also the KOICA scholarship. A lot of the agri students have the KOICA scholarship. So, ibang naman to. Pero, ibang institution, but under the government pa rin, like GKS. So, si KOICA, open lang siya sa mga empleyado na sa Pilipinas. So, yung mga kilala kong may KOICA ay friend ko na taga Bureau of Treasury. Yan, nag-under KOICA siya. Meron akong friend na DOST.
Okay.
KOICA scholar din. Ganon sila. And then you also have the HEAT project. This is for teachers naman. Tas depende din sa priority fields. So, agri-friend ko din yung kilala ko na, agri-econ din yung kilala ko na HEAT scholar. Tas teacher siya sa USEP. Tama ba USEP? Basta sa Davao area. And then, Yung for us, the rest, the remaining, my scholarship is on the university. So, I contacted my professor directly. Kasi for PhD, ako, isa sa mga natanggap kong advice before was to check the ano yung tawag sa English? Supervisor. Thesis, yung advisor mo. Kasi, syempre, gusto mo, aligned yung research nyo. Yung matutulungan ka, ma-mentor ka sa research mo. So, nag-apply ako, nagtanong ako dun sa prof. Nag-email ako directly, nagtanong ako mayroon bang, space sa lab. Kasi, syempre, important sa kanila yon na pwede ka nila mapaaral. And then, nung time na yon 1 week na lang yata remaining for the application for GK. So, hindi ko na inabutan. Pero, luckily, meron pa yung for the university. Which is kasabay nung pag-apply as for admissions in sa university. So, yun yung tawag dito sa amin is best K, and you bring excellent students to Kangwon National University. So, there are also other forms of that in other schools. So, usually, meron sa SNU yung parang presidential scholarship, I think. So, Chung-Ang, meron din. Chung-Ang University.
Parang common siya sa Korea.
Yes. Kasi lalo na for graduate studies. Talaga. Kasi syempre, yun na yung parang, parang ako, yung prof ko yung technically nagpapasweldo or nagbibigay ng stipend ko. Parang gano'n.
Okay, gets.
So, okay naman. So, pero yun, ang daming pwede na opportunities. Lalo na, pag lab-based. Lab-based talaga.
Okay.
Kung gusto mo. Huy!
So, ayun, para sa mga,
meron
para
sa
mga viewers, ayan.
Oo, lalo na
Daming
sabihin na sa marine. For marine science, meron alam ko meron sa Jeju. Sa Jeju. And also, meron tayong, alumni from NIGSI, Kenneth. Nagtapos siya sa INHA.
Yes.
INHA University.
Yeah.
Oceanography ba? O Ocean Sciences. Basta ganun yung degree niya. So, dun din. Meron. Yun yung mga alam kong meron. So, yun lang. Kasi naalala ko, mas kayo sa M.Sc, mga
Pero yun nga.
Tanong lang kayo sa amin.
Charot.
Tanong lang kayo sa akin.
Sige po. So, for viewers, for audiences, ayan, ang dami. Maraming opportunities to study in Korea if you're planning to do your PhD in abroad. It's a good place
country
to
to consider. Yes.
Good country to consider. So, speaking of our audiences, baka may mga nagbabalak din mag-pursue ng science, mag-pursue ng PhD, graduate studies. So, ano po yung advice nyo to those aspiring researchers?
Parang, qualified ba ako? Advice?
Oo naman.
Pero, I think, for me, ito din yung sinasabi ko sa sarili ko. Parang, whenever I guess parang I doubt where I am or I always try to remember why I'm doing. Ano ba? Bakit? Ba't ka nandito? Ano bang end goal mo? Ano bang gusto mong tulungan? Sino bang gusto mong tulungan? Sino bang beneficiary ng ginagawa mo? Bakit ka ba nagpapakahirap? And I think when you go back to your whys, yes, very profound. When you go back to why you're doing what you're doing, you get that sense of, we have a purpose. Kailangan pa nating mag-continue kasi merong dahilan kung ba't natin ito ginagawa. Kasi minsan, often, when we're so busy, we lose that kind of, na parang nabubuhay na lang tayo to meet our, deadlines. Which is totally valid,
I mean, it's important.
To earn money. Diba? Kasi, kailangan mag-submit ng report. Otherwise, mabawasan ka ng sweldo. Mga ganon.
Kailangan
But at the same
time,
why are you doing this? Ano ba yung, mo talaga? Bigger picture. And, ayun nga, parang, for me, one of the things na, as a researcher, isa sa mga pinaka-importante, I think, is curiosity. Na you're genuinely curious kung bakit ganito. Dun sa study mo. Bakit ito? Ba't mo hinahanap yung sagot dito? And grit. Which is yon, persistence and grit. Na talagang papasok ka sa lab every day, bubuksan mo yung mapping software ko. Mag-a-analyze ka. Susulat ka ng at least one sentence. Alam mo yun, to get to your end goal. Na parang, There's a reason why. For me, one of my reasons would be, karst is such an important thing in the Philippines, and for me, it's more of like the protection of that. Karst protection. Bakit? Para kanino ka ba? Bakit mo ba ginagawa to? For the people who are there.
Yes.
So, ako, very cliche, but coming from UP, lagit-lagi, di ba? Bakit? Para sa bayan. Serve the people pa din. Kahit nasa ibang bansa, kahit sabihin mong, sige, kahit hindi na Pilipinas, serve the people pa rin. For the common good. Di ba?
Yes.
Science for the people. I think that's a good way to put it. So, always go back to your whys while you're doing that and, keep going at it. Yun talaga yun.
Very inspiring.
Ako, para sa sarili ko yun. Yun yung sinasabi ko, araw-araw, nagigising ako.
Kasi it really gives you purpose. No?
Yes.
Parang,
Yes.
ayan. So, before I let you go, thank you very much for napaka-inspirational na parang advice.
Yeah.
So, before I let you go, Ate Martha, do you have anything to promote? Like, other things to promote?
Promote? Yung singing ka rin. Joke lang. Hindi, pero yun din pala. I think it's also important na hindi lang tayo laging nasa lab. Meron din tayong ibang outlet.
Yes.
I think that's important also. And promote, ayan, kung gusto nyo nga mag-aral sa Korea, pinomote yung sariling organization. Pero yun, magkakaroon na rin kami soon ng UPAA ROK. So yung Alumni Association here in Korea, I'm also a part of that. And yun, if anyone is interested to do research here, to do their, kahit undergrad actually, pwede. Yun, you can always message our page or me. Ayan, let's find a way to get you here. Yes? Recruit joke lang. pero yun lang naman yung gusto kong sabihin. Kasi I feel like there's such a lot of opportunities, pero hindi lang siya masyadong known.
Yes, that's true.
Sayang naman.
So, ayan. So, thank you very much, Ate Martha, sa pagpapanak ng aming imbitasyon. Imbitasyon ko nga through messenger lang. Charot.
Thank you din.
So,
Buti na-consider ako.
Wow. So, maraming salamat, Ate Martha. Maraming salamat. Ayan.